Hey guys, welcome to The Roundtable. This is episode 118. I'm Jenny Walker, the social media ministry leader here at Life Church. And this is Mike Hill. He is our pastor. And sitting in between us is Janel Smelser.
Woo! Maybe the reigning guest that's been at Life Church the longest.
Really?
Well, you had Dan on, and we came together.
How long ago's Dan been on?
It was a while.
He was near the beginning.
Okay. He was downstairs at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Downstairs at the table.
Yeah, remember we were down here. We moved down here, and then we had the table.
Oh, it was supposed to be a round table,
yes.
but it wasn't.
He was at the roundish table.
He was at the oval table.
The oval table, yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, it just had. And how long have you been here?
Easter of 06.
06.
Yep, I was pregnant with Hayden, so.
Started in 04, got here in 06.
Yep.
And you guys came from Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah. What were you doing in Chicago? I forget.
Well, we lived in Michigan after we got married, we were living in Michigan, and Dan's parents got transferred.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it was, do we find our own place in Michigan because we were living with them? Do we find our own place, move with them? And they were moving to, I think it was
You were living with his parents?
Yes, because they had a 4-bedroom house and it was like a tri-level. So like we lived on one level and they lived on another level.
How was that? Do you mind living with parents?
Oh, no, it was fine.
Huh. Are you going to let your kids live with you?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They can all stay. They're fine. If I could, I'd get a bigger house and let them all stay with me. That's fine.
You would?
Oh, yeah.
That's what they used to do back in the old days, and that's what a lot of cultures do.
It doesn't
be my
bother me.
culture. I'm like, how soon can you get out?
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
They're
I was
fine.
loving the empty nest stage.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll be a while because, even if you were asking if Aaron was still at home. Yeah, Aaron's 18. He's still at home, but Hannah's only 6.
Yeah.
So I got a while.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, even if the other 3 leave, I still got a 6-year-old. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it is a little bit different, right? If they're all still at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like Stella is itching to have one move out so that she can have her own room because she's sharing a room.
Well, maybe you can just get them to buy groceries and pay rent, and then you'll be good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
that's an idea.
that is what we did when we lived with Dan's parents. We had an agreement.
Okay.
And we paid a certain amount of rent, and we were welcome to eat whatever they were eating for dinner if we wanted to, but we bought our own groceries.
Oh, really?
And we had a refrigerator down in the basement, and we did our own thing.
So it's like a little apartment down there.
Yeah. And then when his parents got transferred, my family's in Chicago. So, and that's where we actually met, was in the Chicago area.
They're still there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Do you go back up there?
As often as we can, not as often as I'd like to.
Okay.
But they're in the northwest suburbs, not in the city, but it's just easier because nobody knows.
You might go up there and get shot.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's Chicago.
Yeah. And when we first moved here, because I'm very much a family, like I want to be with my family. I struggled. I was like, nope, we need to go back because I want to be with my family. I want to be there. And so for years, I regretted moving here.
Wow.
And then now I'm the complete opposite though. I'm like, no, they can come over here. I don't want to leave.
Not having them.
Well, and not that I don't
way.
have the family, but I don't want to. I don't want to take my kids out of the environment of the small country town that we live in,
right?
Back to the big crazy,
right?
Like, there's no reason to go back to all the crazy that's going on. Like, I like that, less than a mile down the road from me is a cornfield.
Yeah,
like
you like that aspect of life.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Even though Children of the Corn.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever watched that movie?
Yes, and I haven't seen any come out of the corn.
Down the road, there might be some coming out of the cornfield.
And
is that the noise? My aunt used to do that all the time.
And I drive through the country quite a bit doing my running for people and all that kind of stuff. And so far, we haven't had any children come out of the corn. So I have had deer racing me down the road, like
so you do
baby
running
deer.
For people?
Well,
that's a thing.
Like running errands and stuff.
Oh, I thought you said for other people.
Yeah, running for other people, running their errands.
He can't run in the mile, so she's going to pick up that mile for him.
Yes.
No, I'm saying like I didn't know that's a thing.
No.
Like you go run errands for other people. Wow.
For the people that I do healthcare for, or dog sit for, or clean houses for, I go run their errands for them.
Huh. Like pick up groceries and stuff. Yeah, I do that for Glenda. I pick up her groceries.
Yeah.
Really?
And order them and put them away. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that was a thing. So you're like their maid?
Kind of. house helper.
It just feels good to help, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's what I do best.
Yeah, I didn't mean it bad. I was just like, I never even heard of it. I mean, heard of people that clean houses, but not.
Yeah,
not
well,
doing.
Most of my a majority of my clients are older, and I mean, they're like grandparents to my kids, and so. And, you know, they've kind of adopted my kids. And so they love having my kids over, and they sponsor them in, you know, whatever they're doing at school. And I can't remember where I was going with that. Yeah, they're older. So they need me to, you know, it's, you know, one will call me, hey, I can't figure out my TV. And I'll run over there and figure it out. Or, hey, you know, one asked me to help her learn how to use her air fryer the other day. And then she made me lunch. So I was there cleaning, and she's like, do you know how to use an air fryer? And I said, yeah. And so she's like, well, could you show me my new air fryer? So I showed it all to her, and then I was cleaning, and she goes, you have to come join me for lunch, because she made me lunch.
That's sweet.
Wow. This is going to be, I got to ask this question because I can't stop looking at your arm.
The sticker?
Yeah. Is that like
oh my gosh, then she could tell us all about it.
No, I was like,
I didn't even notice it.
I'm like, is this like if I say something,
a nicotine patch?
No, actually, it works like a nicotine patch would. It's a vitamin patch that absorbs. Yeah. And so
she's all on this like health kick right now.
Yeah. Dan and I started, it's been a year now since we've started it using these products. Oops, I bumped it. It's 2 caps in the morning and then a shake, and then you put your patch on and you're done for the day. And that's
you're
why
done eating?
No.
Oh.
With your vitamins. No.
That is a terrible meal.
No. But you're done with your vitamins and your nutrition and everything that you have to do for your day. And that's why Dan liked it, because it's so easy. Well, then the boys got on this kick of counting their calories and going to the gym and working out and doing all this kind of stuff. Well, now they're having results, and Dan's seeing it. Now now he's counting the calories and on the meal plan and going to the gym. And now Stella's going to the gym because she's Dan's gym partner.
Yeah.
And then we like that it's easy. 1, 2, 3. And it just absorbs through your skin the vitamins that you need. I was having gut health issues, so I couldn't absorb the medication I was needing that I was taking. Like, I was taking a thyroid medicine, and my doctor's like, this isn't working for you. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. And it turns out I was having issues with my gut health, so I couldn't absorb the medication like I needed to. And this absorbs through your skin instead of through
your stomach.
And so
were you taking vitamins then orally before that, and they weren't absorbing either?
Yep.
Wow. So, I mean, how did you get on vitamin patches?
It's crazy that I think it was.
Man, I can't get off these patches.
It was through. I think I tried to think back to figure out how I met her, but I met a gal through, I think, one of my mommy groups that I was in on Facebook. I don't know, but I started following her story. She lived in New Mexico when all the fires started. Her and her husband had a ranch, and like the fires were at her door. Like, they burned her front yard.
Wow.
Like, the cows were eating the flowers that were in the front yard. And then once they were done eating, and then they didn't lose buildings. They didn't lose animals, fortunately. But I saw her always wearing this patch and talking about it. And she was able to, she's got 3 kids and was going through all these forest fire things and still like smiling and happy. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you have that I don't have?
Okay.
And so I started asking questions, and I was drinking 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day just to try to get from breakfast to bedtime.
Yeah.
Okay. And did that
was messing up my stomach big time.
Got it.
Oh yeah.
And you're getting energy from that?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Can you put like 10 of them on you? If you're having a bad day, can you just...
there's a couple different kinds. Oh yeah, there's a couple different kinds.
Is that a multivitamin one? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it gives you energy and mood support and focus and all. My kids love the mood support.
Mood support.
Oh yeah, because I'm a much happier mommy. Oh yeah.
Really?
Well, like I said, I'm much different with Hannah than I was with the big kids.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I've learned a lot because now I can focus. So I've learned a lot.
And this is just something you buy through you?
Well, because you do sell them, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can just,
She's kind of like an influencer for that kind of stuff.
You're an influencer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
She's always promoting it, always like on doing stuff. Like,
where?
Yeah. On Facebook.
On Facebook or Instagram. I'm learning Instagram. I still have to ask my kids questions.
Wow.
I'm glad I have teenagers because I'm like, how do you do this?
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I just had to get that out of the way because I'm like, I can't keep looking at it without asking.
I didn't even notice it at all.
It's like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, and I like...
Why do you put it there?
I kept trying to look at it and read it, and I thought, this is getting distracting.
I move it all over because, I mean, if you wear it in one place too long, it could get
annoying. And is it just one patch a day?
Yeah.
And the mood goes away.
Yeah.
The bad mood goes away.
Yeah, I was on anxiety and mostly anxiety. They called it depression medicine. I don't know why they call it that because I wasn't depressed. Mine was anxiety. But
Lexapro.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Wellbutrin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lexapro is what Aaron was on, and he chose to stop taking that himself because he's like, Mom, it makes you numb.
Makes you who?
Numb.
Numb.
He's like, and I'm like, for a teenager to figure that out, I'm like, And so he figured out how to support it with the diet. And that amazing. Works for him. But yeah, no, I stopped taking I kept forgetting to go refill my prescription, but I was using these things and the other 2 products and realized that I felt great and didn't need.
So if you go on your Facebook, people will be able to figure out what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is the name of the company?
The influencer.
Lavelle? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or Thrive is the product.
Oh, but Thrive. Yeah. Okay. I wonder how many people can't consume or absorb vitamins.
Probably a lot because a lot of what we take just sets in your stomach. Like it doesn't dissolve. That's the problem. A lot of the vitamins and stuff that you take just set like a rock in your stomach. They don't dissolve. So what good is that?
Do you take vitamins?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if I'm having the same issue that you are.
My problem was because I drank so much coffee and for so many years because I used to work at Coffee Divine.
Mm-hmm.
And you did?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
I used to go there when I was like little, when I lived on Madison Street. I'd walk there.
Oh, I loved working there. It was amazing.
Right.
And, well, you and Joe would always come in.
Mm-hmm. Coffee Shop Joe.
Oh, yeah. And so, so that's kind of started my consumption of coffee all the time because, you're at the coffee shop. It's always there.
Get another cup of coffee.
But yeah, drinking that much coffee, I wrecked my stomach big time.
Okay, so let's talk.
Anyway.
Any books that you've read in the past year that you would recommend?
Books that I've read. Ooh. Good.
Or TV shows.
I do read. A lot of times I listen to books online
so
anymore.
Give me one you've listened to.
That still counts.
Good question.
We're pro listeners.
Pull up my Spotify that I listen to. I don't even know because mostly I just listen to podcasts.
Okay, so give us a podcast recommendation.
Mindset Mile right now with Asia Zaza is the one I'm.
Asia Zaza.
Aisha, I think is how she says it so fast. Aisha, Aisha, Zaza.
What is it about?
Just improving her first 30 days that she does. Now I'm on season 2, but her first 30 days is she wants you to walk a mile a day or run. A mile a day. Health. That's where she started. But she's gone into just encouraging your mindset, encouraging you to, if you're interested in changing something, maybe pick up a new hobby or pick up, just things to learn new things, education or anything like that. She changes topics all the time, recipes.
So have you done any of her recommendations?
I actually took notes the other day. I stopped. I was in the middle of a cleaning and took notes on what she was saying so that I can look up the books.
Yeah,
because they sound really good.
You listen to it and you're like, I'm going to go do this. Oh,
well, I'm going to start. I haven't yet, but I'm going to start doing the mile that she talked about.
Are you going to run it?
I can't run.
Are you going to walk?
I'm going to start with walking. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I can get to running, but I haven't been able to run yet. My knees aren't the greatest, but we're going to try it.
You can walk a mile though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because as much cleaning as you do.
Oh yeah.
That's walking a mile.
The bending and squatting and all that kind of stuff.
Maybe
but
that counts.
Yeah, maybe it does.
Maybe you should just put on your Apple Watch and you'll know.
I should. I should.
Then you might get your mile.
So I get all my squats in and then pushing the sweeper. I'm like, this is core exercise.
I'm telling you, I turn my fan on when I'm vacuuming. Yeah, I turn my exercise on to other. I do.
Good idea.
Yes, I burn like 300 calories
when you're sweeping.
When I'm vacuuming, yeah. I don't mess around. Huh?
Like your room?
Everywhere. The whole house.
You've cleaned the whole house?
Yeah, often.
Wow. That's impressive.
I like to clean. Well, and my dogs are hairy.
Yes.
So I feel obligated to make sure.
Keep the house cleaned up.
Yeah, so I don't hear my mom complain.
Okay. What about a TV show, Netflix, something that you've watched that you would recommend?
I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I really don't. No, because either Dan's got the remote in the living room or the kids have the remote in their room. And so I'm usually in the kitchen somewhere in between. So I kind of just pick and choose. I really like, and Dan will put them on, like the crime shows, like NCIS and those kind of shows. I really like setting.
What is it about women on podcasts that watch about how to murder people?
Yeah.
It's like every woman on the podcast. What have you been listening to? How to Murder My Husband? I've been watching crime documentaries so I can learn how to hide
Those
it
are
if
my
I do
sister's favorite is the crime documentaries. Yeah, we like Hawaii
CSI
Five-0 and CSI
stuff like
and all
that,
those. Yeah, I like to watch those. And that's kind of what we used to watch. That and like pre-children. We'd sit and watch like Survivor and Amazing Race and all those. Like I like those kind of shows.
Pre-kids, meaning your kids don't like Survivor?
No, it's just meaning that I'm more busy now.
Got it.
So I don't sit down ever. Like this for me, like I don't sit. I sit in the car.
Okay.
I don't sit because if I sit, I'm going and I'm not doing something, I'm going to fall asleep. So I don't sit. I'm always standing and moving around and doing things because my neighbors probably think I'm crazy because we leave the house 10 million times. I'm running a kid here, running a kid there, and I forgot this or I forgot. So my neighbors probably think I'm crazy.
Like I'm about ready to sit down. I'm just going to get in my car and drive around.
Yeah.
Really?
So I don't fall asleep.
You'll really fall asleep?
If I just sit down and do nothing, I will fall asleep.
Don't get near Janel on the road. She might be falling asleep.
I won't fall asleep when I'm driving.
Do you think it's because your brain is like, why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Because I do the same thing unless I'm in a meeting and then I really have to like do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but if I'm driving, no, because then my brain is engaged. That's why I don't use cruise control. Dan cannot understand why I don't use cruise control.
I can't drive. On a country road, I put cruise control on.
I can't handle cruise control because I want to be in full control of my vehicle. And if I take away something that I have to concentrate on, I'll fall asleep or I'll daydream.
Yeah.
Daydreaming.
No cruise control for me.
Okay, how about best childhood memory? And we're saying childhood could be your middle school time, high school, sometime when you were a kid. What's one of your favorite memories?
Probably going to visit, because every summer we would go visit we did family, like when I say we did family vacations as a family to visit other family because we always lived a great distance from both sets of grandparents and all the aunts and uncles. And so it was always, 8-10 hours down south to Junction City, Kansas area to visit, or part of Missouri to visit my dad's side of the family, or way up far north in Wisconsin to visit my mom's side of the family. So probably I even was thinking about my aunt the other day because they had a farm in Missouri and they had, I think, 5 kids. And over the course of the time that they were foster parents, they fostered 100 kids.
Whoa.
I mean, it was a huge amount of time that span, but they fostered 100 kids. But they were willing to take in teenagers. They were willing to take in sibling groups. And because I believe my aunt, but for sure her oldest daughter had nursing training, they were willing to take the NICU babies that were like the drug babies.
Oh, wow.
And so they had those kids, and yet they had the farm, they had lots of acres, they had cows, pigs, I mean, everything that they did. And then they also had an auto shop right there on the farm. And I'm just thinking the other day, I'm like, how did she keep the plates spinning without dropping them? Because I mean, it always seemed seamless when you went there, and she's going to hang the wash, as she said it, the wash out on the line.
The wash.
Yes. Out on the line.
Wash.
And, and she always had, she took lunch out to them in the fields. She took, she always had hot dinner made. And then we'd still sit down and play cards at the end of the day. And I'm like, how do you do this?
And
hot breakfast.
Put a vitamin patch.
Yes.
And she didn't have a vitamin patch.
Body, and you could go like a robot.
I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe too much coffee. But she didn't have a vitamin patch. But oh my goodness, I was thinking she was amazing. Like, I don't know how she did. I need to message my cousin and be like, how did she do that?
Different generation.
Oh,
so do you like to travel?
Oh, I love to travel.
Okay. So if you could pick somewhere, where would you go?
I don't know. We recently did an amazing trip. We took the kids to Florida, and I had never been to Florida before.
Oh, you hadn't?
No. So
what part of Florida?
We went to Orlando and then over to Cocoa Beach.
Okay.
But that was amazing just to take the kids. And
you love the beach?
We just went to Cocoa Beach, like on the way home to see it because I hadn't seen the ocean. But I'll go anywhere.
Okay.
Wherever you want to take me, I'll go.
No, I'm just like, some people are homebodies, some people love to travel.
I do like to be at home, but I wouldn't mind traveling either. Like I would, especially this time around, we used a travel agent, and she happens to be a friend of ours that we grew up with in high school and college, and then ended up realizing that now she's a travel agent. So she helped us book the whole trip, and I was a nervous wreck leading up to it. And then once we had gone and the fact that she had taken care of everything, I was like, well, this isn't so bad.
Did you fly?
No, we drove.
Oh,
Wow.
with all your kids?
And an extra.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Did you rent a van?
Nope. We took our van.
Wow.
That was fun though, because we had it inspected before we left to make sure that it was road ready, and it wasn't road ready.
It wasn't?
It wasn't? It
No.
broke down?
Well, we had to fix it before we left.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh. So at least you knew it wasn't road ready beforehand.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you had to get some stuff fixed on it.
Yeah, we had to fix a few things.
Okay. So
that was fun.
outside of your salvation, what's the biggest God moment of your life? So like something significant that happened, whether it be that you and Dan experienced, whether it be a church service, whether it be a...
Probably the one that would stand out to me, probably one of the most, is I was working at a daycare, and right after I had Hannah, and things just weren't working as far as the schedule went. For my schedule that they needed me there, and the schedule trying to keep everything balanced. And Hannah was only 6 weeks old. And so I was like, or maybe she was a little older, might have been 3 months old, but still she was little, and trying to balance what she needed and what the family needed. And I was working late hours, and I had thought I found another daycare position in town versus driving to Andrews every day. In town, literally within walking distance of my house, and Stella could come with me and I could put her on the bus from the daycare, and Hannah would be able to go to the daycare with me as she was to the other one. And I had given my 2 weeks notice, and I remember still sitting in the classroom during nap time and getting a phone call, and it was the daycare director telling me that they had a restructuring and they no longer were going to be able to hire me. And I audibly heard, I literally turned around and looked. I audibly heard God say, trust me, it's going to be all right. I heard a man's voice. There was no one there.
That's awesome.
But I heard it go, trust me, it's going to be okay. And I went, oh, okay then. So now I have to text my husband and tell him I don't have a job.
Yeah.
And I've already given my 2 weeks notice, but okay. And I started praying. And that's where another thing that when Dan and I, we probably went, I don't know, we got married in 2000. 2003, we found out we couldn't have kids on our own unless we did in vitro. And we were good candidates, so we did it. And February 14th, I believe it was, of 2004, we started our first in vitro treatment, and the first round didn't work. And I remember laying in our room just being really upset and crying because it didn't work. And Dan coming in, and I said, why aren't you upset about this? You should be upset. And he goes, well, I prayed about it. God's got it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now I have to worry for the both of us, but okay. And so I remembered that when this lady had called and said there was no job, and then I audibly heard God go, don't worry about it. I got this. I remember Dan saying that, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to pray about it and it's going to be okay. And I was walking Stella, I have to think which child, Stella up to the bus, and the neighbor had come out and she was walking her little one up to the bus, which she had newly moved to the neighborhood, so I hadn't really met her yet, walking her little one up to the bus too, and saying that she needed a babysitter for her younger one, and would I be available to babysit?
There you go.
Wow. That's amazing.
So we started a home daycare for a while, till COVID hit, but
Till COVID hit.
Wow.
yeah.
It's like a lot of people's story till COVID hit.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in a Christian home?
I did. My parents were pastors in the Salvation Army, just
Both
like
of
Dan's
them?
parents. Yeah.
Oh,
Just
wow.
like
How
Dan's
did I miss
parents.
that part of the
Oh,
story?
just like Dan's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
how
get
we
that
met.
part.
Yeah.
I must have missed that in Dan's story.
I don't remember that
Dan's-
either, I don't think.
Yeah. My parents were Salvation Army pastors, just like Dan's parents.
And so that's how you met? It's like all the Salvation Army kids get together and date each other?
They do. Some of them, yes.
Yeah.
They do.
Is it just like
Many of
you
them
got
are
a
married.
group to pick from, and so everybody gathered to Salvation
Yep.
Army's date night?
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It might actually be a thing to do.
Yep. To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
We did. There's a lot that are, that were what we call Salvation Army kids or Sally kids that,
Sally kids.
they got married. We just shortened the Salvation Army to Sally.
Yeah. Because back then,
Or
the
OKs,
Salvation Army
officers'
was
kids.
bigger. right?
Yeah.
I mean, not the
and especially the area we were in, because we were in the Chicago area. And so my parents were no longer actually pastoring an actual church building. They were now lay pastors within the large church we were in. And then my Dan's parents were at another location, but they also came over to the big church that we were going to. So that's how we met.
Don't you think it's interesting? Now I'm going to say this because I might be wrong, but
You're fine.
I think it's interesting that both of you came from, and not that I've been, so I'm going to make an assumption. Not that I've been to a Salvation Army church service before. So you both come from the Salvation Army church, but I feel like I remember you guys saying that you went to Willow Creek.
We did.
So Willow Creek and the Salvation Army are like night and day different. Because back then, when you're planning a church, Bill Hybels was the guy you read about, right? Because he's the guy that somewhat was a pioneer. I mean, he kind of turned out to be a loser, but I mean,
depends on who you believe.
Oh, you mean you don't think it's true?
Depends on who you believe.
Well, I don't honestly know.
I'd have to do my research.
If the stories are true that really happened, then that would be a bummer.
Right.
Because he was a pretty great pioneer in church planning.
Right. The things that he did.
That he was a businessman.
In that aspect.
That chose to plan a church. And so his books were always phenomenal back then. So when you guys first came, and I just feel like that was a part of your story, like went to Willow Creek. And
we did.
Like, wow.
We actually found you because of Willow Creek. So we grew up in the Salvation Army. Then we ended up moving to Michigan because we took a youth pastor position at a Salvation Army in Michigan. And we were youth pastors for a few years. And then when we chose not to be, Dan chose to go back to school and I chose to go back to teaching, that we chose not to be youth pastors anymore. And we thought being at the church with the kiddos that we had just been youth pastors for, it was awkward. And so we found another church. We went to Res Life, and Res Life was much more like this.
Okay.
And that's where we went, was there. And then when we moved to Chicago, we did go back to our original church that we grew up in together and got married in. But we were like, nope. Nope, this isn't doing it.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And I had gone, and my sister at the time when we moved back was going to Willow Creek. And through college, I had gone to Willow Creek some. I had gone to some events there.
Okay.
And I went to a community college and then to Judson College, which is similar to RHU here, but there. And so I had experience with Willow Creek and went with some friends there. And so we decided to give it a try and got attached to a marriage small group. And that was just the end of it. And we were there. Right. And so we ended up moving here. Well, if you go on the Willow Creek site, you can actually see, like you can look up, I don't remember if it's the .com or if it's even still the same. At the time, back then, if it was the .com or the .org, but you could look up sister churches and see other churches that were similar to the church that you...
Really?
To Willow. And
they said Life Church was similar to Willow Creek? Wow.
What is Willow?
Oh, I mean...
It's a ginormous church.
Where at?
It's
in Chicago?
Yeah, in Barrington, Illinois.
Okay.
But it's like this only times...
a bunch.
They have 80,000 members when we left.
So Bill Hybels is the one who started... what's the thing that you just went to, Nick? The Leadership Summit?
Yeah, the Leadership Summit. Yeah.
The Global Leadership Summit was started by Willow Creek.
Oh.
And people used to go to Willow Creek for the Global Leadership Summit. Yep. Now, I don't know who hosts it or what it goes through now. But again, Bill Hybels was a businessman who got on fire for Christ and then decided to plant a church. And I mean, he reached a lot of younger, up and coming, I would say semi-wealthy people, in that area. And they just all got together, pulled their resources together. And I mean, they were reaching thousands.
Yeah. Wow. And they have lots of locations throughout the Chicago area. Right. So they have main campus is in Barrington. That's the one we went to. Right. But they have other satellite locations. Yeah. So
Bill Hybels has wrote tons of books like on leadership. And so I used to read all of his books, and because I always just thought it was fascinating because he would relate more with me from the standpoint of where do you come from?
Yes.
Because, you know, you looked at, because Saddleback was the other big church at the time, but Saddleback, I mean, he had went to a seminary and he kind of went the traditional route of like this, and he planted through the Southern Baptist, and Willow Creek was just like, I'm starting a church. I'm a businessman. I'm on fire for Jesus. And it was kind of a, you know, and I thought it was fascinating to listen to Bill Hybels talk, thought it was fascinating. In fact, some of the early on Christmas Eve services that we did were like from Willow Creek.
Oh, really?
Like they give you I don't know if Willow Creek still does it, but they used to give you the whole creative package you could buy. And so you just take their ideas and you bring it here.
Wow.
Which, it was good stuff. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting because that's a big switch, you know, to go from a Salvation Army church to Willow Creek or even then to Life Church.
And what's a Salvation Army church?
So
I don't mean that bad.
No, it's just very traditional. You're going to get very much so which is what Dan grew up in. And we were in he and I, so our relationship together, we grew up in the larger of the Willow Creek of the Salvation Army churches. We were in one of the larger ones.
So it wasn't as like controlled, like, or
no, it would be, but I'm just saying, like, and if you think of like the brass band on the street corner playing at the Red Kettles, like very much so, like he was in the band, I was in the choir, like we call it songsters, but I was in the choir, he was in the band.
Songsters.
That's what we called it.
Okay.
A choir. So he was in the band, I was in the choir. You wore uniforms, if you remember. That was just what you did. And
like the pastor has like a uniform.
Yeah, because the Salvation Army was set up based on the Army.
The Salvation Army story from the beginning is fascinating.
Oh yes, if it stayed the same as
the Salvation Army and the
William Booth, he's amazing.
Yeah. That whole story again is incredible.
But it's very much like we moved here and we were like, we're not going to go to the. Not that like I said, there's nothing wrong with the Salvation Army here. It's just not the style we wanted. It's a lot smaller. And it just didn't have the programming that we wanted to have our kids in. Like there really is no children's programming.
Yeah. Like when you go to the Salvation Army basketball. So when we used to do Salvation Army basketball, the captain, I can't remember what they call him. But he's our pastor, but he's called the captain or something.
You have a lieutenant, a captain, a major. Lieutenant colonel, depending
whoever
on what
the lead guy is here. I mean, he comes out in full, like when he does the prayer for the Salvation Army to kick off the season, he comes out like in full military gear.
Oh, wow.
Not military.
Well,
I mean, it's dressed like a major would dress. Like he's got the hat and the whole thing. And so it's just, again, it's completely different.
Dan and I have them somewhere.
You do?
Well, we did.
That would be
I don't know if we still do.
Oh, you should have Dan wear one when he's doing sound one Sunday.
Yes. Yes, that'd be amazing.
I have to see. I don't even know where they are.
Army.
That'd be funny.
That would be awesome.
That would be.
So in your journey, so you grew up obviously in a Christian home, so it's always been a part of your life. So talk a little bit about what are some of the things that have been monumental when it comes to your spiritual growth? Like, has it been certain people? Has it been certain structures? Like, what are the things that have been monumental for you in your spiritual growth?
A big one for me was always going to camp in the summer because we had different camps that we went to through the Salvation Army, but camps that we went to. So just having that camp environment of, you know, yes, you had fun stuff during the day, but, you know, you had your meetings at night and your, you know, I feel like I probably gave my life back to Christ a few times because, you know, they talk you into, and like, did I really own it for myself or didn't I? But probably by the time I hit high school, it was when I was really owning it for myself. And I was going somewhere with that. We had a Sunday school teacher that was the high school and then filtered into the college age kids that Dan and I still talk about a lot of the stuff that he talked about and he did a lot on relationship.
This is when you were a young adult. Oh, wow.
Just a lot of and he was actually in my sister's wedding. But just talk a lot about just the way you should be in a marriage and the way you should be in relationships and that kind of thing that still kind of sticks with me. And just prayer has been a big one. Just always like prayer has to be, at least for me, I just have to remember it shouldn't always be my last resort. Like I don't know what else to do. So now I'm going to pray. Right. It has to be my first resort.
Right.
You know, and what do I do first? I need to pray about this. And then, you know, yes, I can go talk to my best friend about it. Yes, I can talk to Dan about it. Yes, I can talk to, you know, whoever, but I need to talk to God about it first.
Right.
And so I think prayer's been a big one.
Yeah. So could you point out any person been the most influential in your life? Do you have a person that's maybe had the most influence on you, or maybe it's somebody lately?
I don't know. Probably my kids.
Your kids?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I feel like I've changed and grown and just learned a lot, even through my spiritual walk of just having kids and how you kind of grow with them. And, you know, like you've talked about before, that childlike faith and seeing Christ through a child, you're like, oh yeah, like, oh, like that's, you know, just reminding yourself of that childlike faith and seeing, like Hannah the other day, it was kind of funny. She, you know, she's 6 and she's watching one of the YouTube people she likes to watch. And they were doing a funny little skit about, the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who. And Cindy Lou is saying to the Grinch, well, it's not about, the presents. It's about family and friends. And Hannah goes, no, it's about Jesus. And I went,
that's cute.
You're right. Yeah. It's about Jesus.
Yeah. So knowing what you know today, if you could go back and tell yourself or to tell younger moms, younger ladies something to give them some advice, right? So you've went through, I mean, how old are you?
40. I just turned 47.
Yeah. So if you could go back 47. Into those younger days. And so if we have young moms listening or new moms listening or just young women listening, what would be some advice you would have gave yourself and maybe to some other young women or young ladies out there?
Don't worry about it and pause.
Okay.
Stop and think before you do anything.
Okay.
Because in that pause, pray. In that pause, take a deep breath. In that pause, stop for a minute and think before you react. Because I've always been, which is why my bigs will tell you that I'm so much different I was so much different with them than I am with my little, of stop and think, pause, pray, think first. Don't be so reactive.
Okay.
Because I was always very reactive, and it was very much, you know, reacting to what they were doing versus trying to create the environment so that maybe that didn't even happen in the first place. But just pause and take a deep breath. It'll all be okay.
Okay.
You're only in the season one time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You're always going to get through.
Yeah. I mean, and you will.
There's another season
and
coming.
You'll look back. I actually was listening to Asia Zaza, and listening to her yesterday of saying, you know, you try to get through, you're stuck in this moment with your kid and you're, if it would just end, you know, it's the sleepless nights. And if it just end, if it just end. And then all of a sudden it does end and you stop and think, wait a minute, how long has it been since they've been sleeping through the night?
Yeah.
Because it was a long season when it was happening. Yeah. But then it's over.
Right.
And so just
push through the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right. So questions, Jenny?
Yes. Question time.
Uh-oh.
All right. I'm going to repeat it, even though I already said it. So Dan Smelser says, the best guest ever. And that is her husband, for everybody that doesn't know or didn't connect the dots.
It'll be 23 years this year.
23.
Actually, in a couple weeks. 23 on the 23rd.
That's cool. All right. Keely Oswald wants to know, favorite way to spend the day as a whole family? It's a good question.
Board games.
Board games? What's your favorite?
Card games. We love to play. We love to, every year for Christmas, we buy a game. We just love to play games because it's hilarious. And I think that's one of the best sounds is listening to everybody laugh about it. Oh my God, the giggles get going.
Yeah.
When we did spring break, not this time around because that was Florida, but spring break 2 years ago, we actually went to Nashville, Tennessee, and we took games with us and sat in the hotel room. And oh my gosh, the laughter. Oh, they got the giggles. They were laughing so hard. They couldn't breathe. It was hilarious.
You don't have a one that you like more than anything else?
Uno is probably my favorite.
Uno. Okay.
What about
just like Catan? The regular?
I don't play that one real well.
You don't play Catan? You don't like it?
That would be Dan. I could learn it. I just don't think I know how to play it.
Do you like it?
What?
Catan?
I don't even know what that is.
Played Catan?
I want to play. I've never played.
Yeah,
it's like a strategy game, isn't it? It's like a strategy game.
Kind of like a strategy
my dad would my mom was always the one that did games with us, but if we had a strategy game, my dad would definitely sit down and play those games with us.
Right. I can't remember what the other one's called, but it's like where you build railroads from one side to the other.
Stratego?
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
Ticket to
Ticket
Ride.
to Ride's a really good one. Monopoly.
Oh yeah, all those games. We just love games.
Card game, Uno.
Oh no, yeah.
What about Phase 10? You like Phase 10?
It's all right, but it takes forever.
It does take forever.
Uno you can get through faster.
Hand and Foot.
I've never played that.
That card game takes forever, but
I'm really good at what's that called? Not Shades, but it sounds like that. It
sounds like what?
Shades.
Shades.
Spades. That's what it is.
No.
Spades.
Spades.
Yeah, Spades.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We love playing games. Go ahead.
All right, Bree Sullivan. Janelle is such a sweet soul. What is your go-to quick, healthy meal?
Salsa chicken.
Salsa chicken in the crock pot, I'm assuming.
Yep. We put chicken or pork. We just put the salsa in the crock pot, put the chicken or pork, because sometimes if I don't have chicken, I have pork on hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Chicken or pork in there, and just put the lid on and let it go. And then once the chicken's done, shred it. And then add a little bit of splash of ranch dressing, because it's also ranch chicken, really. And then add black beans and corn. We started doing that because that stretches it a little farther. Yeah. And then serve it over. We prefer brown rice, but brown rice or white rice, or put it in a taco shell or whatever.
Wow.
Super simple. And you can never go wrong with Mexican food, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah, unless you eat out Mexican, then you can go wrong.
Yeah, that is true. All right, Peggy Eads. When did she first learn about Jesus, and what keeps her heart on fire for him?
I was 4 years old. I remember actually being in Sunday school class with my mom.
Judas, who remembers 4 years old?
I know, it's impressive.
I barely remember last year.
She had an apron. She always wore an apron to class.
Who?
My mom.
And so she was the one that taught it?
Yep.
Okay.
And she had little things tucked in the apron, and that would either for telling the story, or it was little treats depending on what we were doing that day. Little things that she would pull out that was for the craft or whatever. And I just remember her telling us about the salvation story, and
that's stuck ever since then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so what keeps you on fire?
Yeah.
Just seeing, I don't know. I think this is going to sound weird. I was very type A when we moved here. Very much type A. Dan will tell you. And I don't know, just being in, like, are the sunsets and sunrises better here are they just better in the country than they are in the city? Because I feel like we didn't have them in the city.
Well, I don't think you can see them as well.
Yeah, probably
I don't
not.
know, because like even Hannah, like she'll and Stella is my 13-year-old, and then Tayden, I don't know if Aaron does it because he doesn't talk about it. Tayden's my 17-year-old. And then Hannah, the 6-year-old, they are obsessed with sunrises and sunsets and are actually disappointed now that it's dark in the morning and they can't see them on the way to school. And I just feel like just nature itself. You know, you go outside to take the dogs out and I can hear frogs. I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
And I live in the city part of, I call all of Huntington the country. I live in the city part of the country, but like I said, I take care of people that live out in the country, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Jamie Tackett, do you know someone specific that we can stand together in prayer for?
Like giving a specific name?
That's what she's saying, but maybe for discretion. I don't know how we could make that discreet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is there anything that we can pray for you about?
Don't know. I'd say definitely pray for our kiddos all being in school and everything that they have to go through. I used to sit in location for me wise has changed, but I used to sit in the hallway because I got up before the kids every morning, and I'd sit in front of their doors and pray over them every day.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm in the kitchen, but I pray in the kitchen, but yeah, I just pray over our kiddos because they've got so much that things that they have to face that we never had to. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And my sister, her little guy is 4, and just them starting to explore, like, are we doing preschool or school with him? Or are we homeschooling? Are we doing private school? And they're starting to look at those things. And I'm just thinking, does the things that kids have to go through these days, goodness gracious.
Are they in Illinois?
Yes, they are. They're actually in the northwest suburbs. So still, they're in the suburbs, but it's still very much.
Yeah, it's different there.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
it's way different there.
It's way different.
Yeah. And those are the questions.
Okay, so Jenny, give us the number and
So if you are not on our texting group, we want you to join it. So by doing that, you text podcast to 260-408-8383. And that gets you into our texting group. And each week I send out a text that lets you know who's going to be on the podcast. And I give you a brief bio. That way you can ask questions back. So we want you to be involved. If you don't want to answer that question, but you want to ask something throughout the week, or you know somebody that wants to be on the podcast, go ahead and send us a text.
Yeah, good. So Janelle, thanks. It's obviously great to see you. Thanks. And I've said from the beginning, from where you guys were to where you guys are today, like it's so fun watching your journey, and how you guys, because the other thing is you guys were involved from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys have been highly involved at Life Church. And I mean, Dan has been the one constant in youth since.
Really?
Yeah, and maybe you even in children's. I just know more about youth because when I was the youth pastor of Life Church,
Dan was always up there.
He's always been more youth and I've always been more children's, but my degree's in preschool. So
yeah. But from the beginning, they have been highly involved and still are great to volunteer, great hearts. So first of all, thank you, and thanks for coming on and, sharing your journey and what God's doing in your life. And we'll just pray that continue down that road and allow God to continue to use you. So when Jenny puts this out, make sure that you share it, like it, comment on it, so that we can get more people to view Janelle's story. If you see her on a Sunday morning, come up and say hi. Again, as the church grows, one of the things that this podcast does is help people get to know people. So if you see Janelle, come up and say hi to her, just encourage her, in her walk and in her journey. And again, we just thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.